everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fr.TEDTalksXtra. Somebody had asked me online to speak a little bit about oil lamps and how we kind of maintain them and how do we kind of use them and light them. So I just want to show you a little bit about the type of oil lamp that I personally use at home, and as opposed to certain other oil lamps that people use, and some of the differences in how to maintain them and how to light them. So let's take a look, shall we? So this is an oil lamp that is hanging inside the church here in front of the icon of Christ. But it's very similar to the oil lamp that I have hanging at home in my iconostas, or my prayer corner. And basically this oil lamp is, regardless of what the shape of it is or what the bottom is, whatever, essentially the oil lamp inside, there will be some type of glass insert, which is like this one here, you can see. It doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is, and it has olive oil. Now always use olive oil, don't use vegetable oil or other things. Olive oil burns clean, and it's also the more traditional way of using of burning. Don't use different other types of oils. And also there is this little floaty thing on top which holds the wick. Now you're going to see different types of kind of like cork floating devices in order to hold your wick. This particular one is metal, but you can see it has a little bit of cork underneath, so it's buoyant. And this one is, I particularly like this one. This one's from Mount Athos, but like you can get these online as well, pretty much anywhere. They're fairly cheap. And this is really nice because what it does is underneath, as you can see, it's got a little metal contraption, and underneath there's a wick. And this wick is 100% cotton. As you can see, the wick just kind of sits inside the oil, and it comes up through the top. And what you do is you pull out the wick as you light it. So you'll light it, it'll burn, and then after, like, it can burn for many, many hours before it becomes like a crisp, like a black crisp, and then you can just pull that off and then just pull the wick up through. And this will last a long time because clean cotton, this is like a 3-ply cotton, it's very, very good. Actually, it's a 4-ply, like a 4 kind of strand cotton, and this stuff burns for a very, very long time. So the wick will last a long, long time, longer than other type of synthetic wicks that exist in different stores that you can buy. Sometimes what you might have is these types of more kind of modern wick systems, where again you have like a cork. This is a new one. It's a cork and a little bit of metal on top, and it has a small little hole underneath, right? But it's not as intricate as the other one. And you have these kind of like wax-based wicks, which are kind of like synthetic. They're not super great, but they do the job. And basically you insert that through there, make sure that it sits, under the oil. Part of it goes through and goes out the bottom, and then this sits down on the oil and it burns. Now, this also works, but it doesn't work as well. Like the wick will not burn as clean, and it will also burn very, very quickly. It's about half the life of what the regular cotton wick over here, what this regular cotton wick will do. It's about half that life. This will burn much longer and cleaner. And so these are the ones that we've opted to use in the church, and this is what I opt to use at home, and this is what I would recommend for everybody else. You can have a piece of cotton wick going up through here, and it can be coiled and sitting at the bottom of your kadili, and it can last for a long, long time. Like maybe you can have, let's say maybe 10 inches or 15 inches of wick, and that can last you sometimes months, depending on how long you light your kadili. Of course, we go through this a lot faster here in the church, but generally speaking at home, when you're only lighting it, let's say on Saturday nights for Sunday, it can last you months just on one wick. So it's a really efficient way of lighting your oil lamp. Of course, you do need clean olive oil to keep refilling, and just to keep an eye on that. One more thing to remember when you're lighting your oil lamp is that at the bottom of the oil lamp, you should always pour a little bit of water. Okay, so you should pour a little bit of water at the bottom, just a little bit, just like about that much, maybe like not even an inch of water, and that will go to the bottom and the oil will float to the top. The reason for that is that as this burns and goes down, when it gets to the bottom, the wick will go out when it hits the water, and it won't fall all the way to the bottom of the glass, because if it falls to the bottom of the glass and there's no water, it might overheat and then crack the kadili glass, right? Crack the interior, and then you'll have a problem and you have to go buy a new kadili. So you want to put a little bit of water at the bottom, just as a safety precaution. If you leave your oil lamp and you leave and you come back and it's already burned out, it's eaten up all the oil, then it won't ruin the glass interior of your kadili. So I hope this was helpful as far as practically how to use the oil lamp. As a recap, I definitely think that using a cotton wick, which you can find online, and using this type of kind of flotation device with the cork is better than using the synthetics with the wax. Those are cheaper, of course. Of course, they're all pretty cheap. They're not very expensive, but using the little wax tips will be a little bit more darken a little bit more your ceiling or wherever the smoke is going up to, because they're synthetic, and it will also burn faster and won't last very long, whereas the cotton wick will last longer. And of course, remember the water at the bottom, just so that you don't crack the glass. And so this is kind of a good way to maintain. You know, often clean your cadilla as well when it runs out of oil. Clean the top of the metal of the floating cork thing, and that's pretty much how we maintain our cadilla.